Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have another diamond in the rough for you guys. His name is Cade Peterson. He's a quarterback out of Grand Valley State University. How's it going today, buddy?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you having me on here. This is awesome.
Cool. So, definitely a guy who I felt a lot of people really need to get to know. Plays at a really great Division II school. I mean, you guys are always in the mix for the national title scene. So, fixing to do it perhaps this upcoming season with your last year of eligibility, trying to go out with a bang. Cade, set us up, tell us where you're from, and start walking through this journey with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I grew up small town northern Michigan. I graduated high school out near the Traverse City, Michigan area. It's a high school called Glen Lake High School, and had roughly 50 to 55 people in my graduating class. It was really small. Um, and had some smaller D1 like offers and heavy D2 interest, and ultimately just made the decision before my senior year that Grand Valley was the place for me. And they gave me an opportunity, and I was ready to kind of just have that set in stone. Made the decision, had a great senior year. Came here in the fall of 2018, and with COVID and everything, red shirts, you're probably seeing guys that have been at school for 5, 6 years, and it's becoming more and more common. But yeah, redshirted my first year. Um, and that was great learning experience for me. Got to my redshirt freshman year, and I was, fighting for a backup spot for the number two, and ended up winning that out, and didn't really have much expectation to play. We had a fifth year guy that was set to play that entire year, and week two, about midway through the second quarter, he got a concussion against Delta State, and I ended up going in there, and we had a comeback victory that game. And it was great just because that was my first real experience playing college football, and again against a quality team too. And it was just amazing. We uh, so after that year, we had obviously COVID, spring ball canceled, and then we went and didn't have anything in the fall. Continued to battle back. The other guy left, and then so it was basically me and this other guy. We were fighting for. What is that noise? Can you hear that?
Yeah, just keep talking, man.
All right, yeah, and we basically did that, and then came back in the fall. Ended up, in a really tight race for the quarterback position that fall, and it got down to the point where it was kind of like, all right, well, I was going to go in for one possession, and the other quarterback was going to go in for the other possession to open up the year. For I think we were playing Pueblo, Colorado Pueblo, and ended up doing pretty well on it and started the rest of that year, and that was in 2021, and then returned back, started this past year, and have one final year left. So
Cool. So let's go back and just kind of fill in a little bit and kind of chit chat through some of those things. Again, kid at a Glen Lake High School there in Michigan. So talk to me about those high school days, man. What do you remember most about those days?
yeah, the high school days were awesome because growing up in such a small town, it was just a really unique experience. I was a three-sport athlete, played football, basketball, and baseball. And I have a lot of memories that were created doing that. And yeah, it's just a lot different than what a lot of college athletes had to go through. Just because a lot of guys come from bigger schools with you know, pretty large programs that are set in stone and have a lot of success. And you know, they took a chance on me, as a guy who was playing in a small division out of Michigan, and it ended up working itself out. So
Cool. So, you had mentioned playing some other sports, some basketball, some baseball, but obviously football is where it's at for you. That's what you've chosen to pursue. So, what is it about the game of football that you love so most? Love the most?
yeah, I mean, I would just say that I think it's the ultimate competitive sport. Like it's a perfect balance between um, you know, intercompetitiveness with yourself and wanting to be the best at your position as well as working with others on a team. It's really unique in that aspect of like it truly takes 11 guys on one side of the ball and then 11 guys on the other side of the ball to really execute and in order to win they got to do their job. And so I would just say that like it's and obviously like it's a violent sport, it's a contact sport, like you don't get that at other areas. It truly can weed out some people that don't have the mindset for that, and I love it in that aspect because I believe I possess that competitiveness inside of me and don't fear of anything. So
So, Cade, I look at you. I mean, physically, I mean, you're a guy who's like prototypical size for a quarterback. I mean, at least 6'4", almost 6'5", 225 plus pounds. I mean, how in the world does a guy like that end up going D2 instead of D1? I mean, maybe it perhaps was just you being at a small school there in Michigan. I mean, what was it? I mean,
yeah,
talk to me about it.
yeah, no, I mean I can say that like recruiting was frustrating for me because I had the same mindset that you did. Um, I had a lot of Division 1 interest, and I had some D1 offers, FCS offers, and it came down to exactly what you said. The high school was too small. The level of competition wasn't good enough, and that hurts because you go to all these recruiting camps and you talking to everybody and they're all saying about how impressive you were and what they're looking for and what it takes to get an offer there, and then they turn on your tape and then they're like, dude, there's not very many guys on the sideline. They look up the enrollment of the high school, like it's not very many people there, and it ultimately just came down to that. Like no one wanted a guy from a high school that had 200 total people.
No,
So
I get you there. But ultimately you found your way to Grand Valley State. And for people that don't know about Grand Valley State, I mean, you guys are a really good Division II school. I mean, if you do happen to go Division II, you end up at Grand Valley State. It's really not that bad of a place to land because you guys are always winning games, man. I mean, you guys are dominating your conference and making a run for a national title year in and year out. So obviously, that's a place that took a chance on you. So just kind of want to ask you, what's so special about your university?
yeah, I mean, I would think that you know there's two things that I can really point out, and they're very different. Is one, um, like our game day atmosphere at Grand Valley is that of a Division 1 school, if not better than most. Like, we are constantly leading the country in Division 2 for attendance. We get 15, 20,000 people that show up to every home game. It's a great atmosphere, and it really just gets a lot of guys going when you step out on that field and there's a huge fan base standing behind you, and it's just awesome. But the other thing is, more around the program is like I mean, it's a little cliche, but it truly is a brotherhood. Like I, I have been, I've met my friends I'm going to have for the rest of my life here. And and it's just something that it's just a bond that can't be broken here. Like there's guys that, from all walks of life and all different backgrounds that we all just come here and we mesh like a brotherhood. And it's awesome because it makes it that much more important when we step on the field and that you got each other's back and your boys on and off the field. So
Yeah, and obviously, Cade, you've also been there forever. I'm pretty sure you've gotten at least one degree under your belt. So, what have you been able to accomplish there as a student?
yeah, so I graduated with my undergrad double major in finance and business management. and then have been doing graduate school classes recently with like some internship experience as well, and kind of just like the business finance industry. So
Cool.
yeah.
So, after your football days are done, whether it be 10, 15 years down the road or whatever, like, what do you see yourself doing?
Yeah, I would say that there's a couple different routes that I would go. There's a finance industry is one. I did a um, private equity internship, and that was really good experience for me. Just like the mergers and acquisitions world, I did it down here in Grand Rapids. Um, or like there's always like a business management, floor management, sales, stuff like that. It's kind of just the way that I could see it going once football days are done. I kind of always just want to tell myself that like, no matter what I end up doing for a career, like I'm gonna, do well at it and enjoy it along the process. So
Yeah, and I mean, despite you being in college for a few years, man, dude, you're still young. I mean, so we'll figure out things kind of as we go, and obviously need to figure out where this football thing's going to lead. I mean, and so let's go ahead and shift gears and talk more football. I mean, again, one of the best offenses in the country. So go ahead and describe that offense for people that maybe aren't as familiar with it. I mean, what are you trying to execute out there on a regular basis?
yeah, I think the unique thing about our offense is that it truly is the definition of balance. Like we would have games, whether it's weather dependent or defense dependent, that like we could go and run for 350 yards or throw for 350 yards, and we've done both. It's just awesome because like we have so many talented players at like all these different positions, and guys are able to do their job successfully, and whoever steps up that week usually sees the benefits in the stat book. And it's a very big, like last year we were very very successful at throwing the ball down the field. I can't remember the exact stat, but we were averaging over 15 yards like a completion, over 9 yards an attempt. And so that would say we ran the ball more attempts than we have in the past, I would say. But we have a really talented old line that was really dominant in the run game. And then, games where guys were shifting fronts and doing such, like we would just take it over the top and throw the ball around the yard. So,
Cool. So let's go ahead and just kind of give a couple of those guys a quick shout out. I mean, who there at Grand Valley do we need to know?
yeah, I would first point out our starting middle linebacker, Abe Swanson, is,
He's on everybody's radar.
yeah,
I know.
Abe Swanson, he's an absolute dog. He he's a really talented player, and he's been here a while. He's been here the same time that I've been here, and he's just such a good leader, such a good player, great middle linebacker. And then there's guys like Tariq Reed's our starting running back. He's an unreal player as well. Really talented runner in between and outside the tackles. There's plenty of guys on defense and offensive line. Chris McCarroll, defensive end. Garrett Carroll, Gabe Brown, Jordan Davis. Those are all guys, going into their final years on the O line, and there's plenty more to go around. So
Cool. Well, nice to get a chance to know some of those guys. I mean, I think most people know Abe Swanson. I mean, if you
yeah,
don't know him, I mean, I want to say he was like on the Shrine Bowl watch list, and everybody's going to be all on top of him this season for sure.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
um, when we look at you as a quarterback, talk to me about maybe some of your what you would say is like your best attribute as a player. So, talk to me about how you would define yourself as an athlete.
Yeah, I believe that I'm also a very balanced quarterback. The greatest thing is that I feel that I can make every throw in the book, and when it's not there, I have the ability to take off with my legs. And it's not something that is always designed. It's something that kind of just comes about sometimes, or if I impulsively make the decision on my own. So definitely that, and another thing is like game management. I really pride myself on that. Leading the guys out there, knowing the situation of the game, knowing where this ball has to go, what this defense is throwing at me, coverage recognition, like a lot of those intangibles that people, may not see. I believe that um, I am very good at those. So.
Great. And then I mean a lot of people like to do the comp thing, which I don't know how you feel about that. So this is how I'm going to word this question. So I mean, who are you paying attention to at the next level? Like who are you trying to model yourself after? Or if you're not modeling yourself after, who are you a big fan of? So go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that I'm a big fan of the Josh Allen play style. He's a bigger guy too, taller, bigger guy. He has the ability to, take off with his legs when he needs to. It's just he went to a smaller Division I school, which I think is awesome. He went to Wyoming, and it's just great because I think that a lot of his game, I have the ability to attain and to my level, and I think that he plays in a competitive way that I'm similar to and that I admire. And if I were to choose anybody's game to resemble mine, I would choose his. So.
Cool. Well, I mean, maybe not the guy that you were looking up to as a kid there growing up in Michigan. I mean, when you were growing up as a little kid, were you a fan of someone else? I mean, as a Michigan kid, I don't know, like, Detroit ball was kind of, yeah, so I don't know how you feel about that. So, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I didn't go to many I didn't watch as much NFL as I watched college when I was a kid, and so they, when I was younger, my family would take me to Michigan State games, and I would watch guys like Drew Stanton, who played on the Lions there for a little bit.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins, Connor Cook, just like a lot of those guys that my parents would always have the game on and be watching. So.
Cool. Well, I mean, it's nice to be able to at least go to some of those games as a kid, and of course, now you're in those footsteps of your own. I mean, one thing that I just kind of wanted to chit chat with you on. I mean, as you were describing yourself as a player, I mean, what would you say is like maybe like a bread and butter play for you guys? Like maybe a favorite play that you would like to run. I mean, can you walk through some of the specifics of it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I really enjoy throwing deep play action, just because it builds off of our very strong run game, and so any sort of post over concept that we have is really one of my favorites, and it's just it just is completely complementary to the run scheme that we have, and that's why I like it because it's it's usually an easy play to read and you can let it fly.
It certainly makes sense. I mean, if with a well balanced offense, I mean, you have some great offensive linemen in front of you, and then the defenses are just going to be thinking run, and they're going to bite on that at some point. So you just
Yeah.
have to be ready for it and chuck that thing long to your receivers. So cool. Let's talk about Grand Valley, man. I mean, you guys over the past couple seasons have been really good. Last season, only losing one game to the eventual champions, which I don't know how that hits you, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure that hits you hard, but what are your expectations for this upcoming year?
Yeah. So obviously, the past 2 years, both times our seasons have been ended by Ferris. The out of the times that I've started at Grand Valley, that's the only school I've ever lost to, and so obviously there's going to be a chip on my shoulder. And it was tough just because the two teams that were playing in that championship were Colorado Mines and Ferris, and we had beaten both of them previously, and so that was a hard pill to swallow. And so going into this year, it's more about there's a mix of expectation as well as me wanting to just take it day by day because it is my final year in college playing ball. And so I would just say not focusing too much on the future. Obviously, we know that there's going to be some opponents in our way that are going to have to take valiant efforts to beat, and they're talented football teams. But the moment that we start worrying about that is the moment that we trip up. So.
So, you have one game that in particular that's circled on your schedule, like more than others, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the Inkerbone Classic with us and Ferris every year is a big one. We're rivals, and they obviously have had back-to-back national championships, and that's always going to be a games that circled as long as Grand Valley and Ferris both have football games. Like that's just, it is how it is. So there's that one, and then our opening game against Mines out there is another big one that we have to have circled, and we have to make sure that we're working as hard as we can for. So
Cool. Well, I mean, in a weird sort of way, at least I know I would almost want to see Ferris again in the playoffs just so that I could hand them a loss, because I mean, those guys, I mean, they're like a thorn in your side. I mean, you beat them sometimes, and it's just a rival is a rival, like you said. I mean, you want to make sure to really hand them that loss. Um,
yeah.
so far, man, you've been in a lot of great games. Share one of your favorite moments, favorite memories, maybe even a specific play that you've been a part of.
Yeah, I would say, a great memory that I have is our opening game against Colorado Mines last year was an absolute thriller. We went up early, and then they battled back, and I made a mistake, turned the ball over late in the game, and our defense got me back, and we had probably around 90 seconds to go down there, down by 4 or 5 points, whatever it was, and ended up traveling, going the distance, getting all the way down there, scoring a touchdown through the air and on the last play, and then we went for the 2-point conversion, and I converted it to my little brother who plays tight end at Grand
Awesome.
Valley. So it was great.
That's definitely got to be a great memory of having your playing alongside your brother and scoring. I mean, especially 2-point conversion to win a game. It sounds awesome. So,
Right. Yeah.
do want to take just a little bit of time to get to know this guy outside of football, this Cade Peterson. So tell me a little bit of something that maybe not everybody knows, man, whether it be some hobbies, personal interests, special talents, or anything else that you want to share, man. Tell me something.
Yeah, I would say that kind of just who I am outside of football is I'm a pretty simple guy. I like a simple lifestyle. I enjoy, going to the lake with friends and family, spending time out there. I love the golf. That's a lot of what me and my teammates do. Me and Abe get pretty competitive out on the golf course, as well as our center, Kyler Blake Jones. He's a pretty good golfer too. So we like to get competitive out there. And then whether it's barbecuing, fishing, stuff like that, like it's just kind of go with the flow and relax, because obviously life gets pretty crazy with football. So.
No, I get it. I do have like a little short question answer period that I kind of want to run through. So bear with me and help me out with this. So favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank. I like that one. That's a good movie. Favorite superhero?
Favorite superhero? I would say Batman.
Batman. That one's interesting.
Yeah.
Couple
I
of
don't know any superheroes, but I did like The Dark Knight, so
no,
that's
hey, it's a good movie. So uh couple fun ones. It's karaoke night and it's your turn to sing in front of people. What's that one song that you're most confident in delivering every single word to everyone?
every single word. I would probably say Sugar Sugar by Baby Bash. I know every single word of that song.
All right, that sounds fun. Let's say I don't know. Have you ever thought about perhaps a charity or cause that you might actually use football as a platform to do, like getting to the pros and such? I mean, obviously, having that opportunity, you could do some good with it. Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I would say that I would donate to veteran causes, U.S. military causes. I've got family that's in the military, and I just have a large amount of respect for those people and what they go through to protect us and serve our country. So I would say war veteran services. So.
Cool. And the one thing again, being a guy from a small town there in Michigan, landing at a university in Michigan, not too far away. What is the furthest you've actually been from home?
I mean, I've been to Canada and Mexico. Canada is not that far. I've also been to California. Um, I have family that I don't have any family that really lives in Michigan, and so when we go visit family, we're always traveling. So I've been to San Diego. I've been to Boston, Massachusetts, Miami, Florida, Corpus
Wow,
Christi.
he's been all over. So, do you have like a bucket list of a destination that you would love to go to one day?
Yeah, I definitely do. There's a lot of places I would like to travel to one day. I would definitely say like going to the Pacific Northwest would be awesome, and just traveling out there, making a trip like through Montana, out through Washington, Oregon. It's just probably the only area of the country that I've never been to, and I would really want to try it out and see. So
Cool. Well, definitely gonna maybe have that opportunity, but before we get there, we got one more season left to go, one more season of maybe seeing a national title, hoisting a trophy, and ending things on a good note, kind of going off into the sunset, so to speak, when it comes to
yeah,
your collegiate time. That would be an excellent way to go. But dude, obviously I know you want to go out there and prove it to some scouts, tell them that you belong in the league. So go ahead and tell them why they need to take a chance on you and bring you into their franchise. So hit them with your pitch and close us out.
yeah. If I were to pitch myself, I would say this: that I'm the ultra competitor. I don't lose. I'm not one of those guys that's okay with losing or not being perfect. Um, I thrive myself on leading others, and just have a passion for bringing a team along with me and bettering them. I can make every throw in the book. I can scramble when I need to. I'm tough. I've taken hits, and nothing really phases me like that. I believe that I'm very composed, and football is truly what I love to do, and so that's where I want to be.
Awesome. I mean, once again, I mean, you do possess a lot of attributes that some scouts love. I mean, you have excellent size. You've also been a part of a winning program, like you know what it takes to, go out there and succeed on a regular basis. You know how to be a game manager. You know how to be able to, work the clock, work your opponents, and obviously get one over on them on a regular basis. But again, man, I appreciate the interview and best of luck this upcoming year, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks. It's been awesome.
No problem. Cade Peterson, quarterback, Grand Valley State University. Check them out this season.